I just would have known, like in the future, please just let me know sooner. Now we're on top of it right away. We're having a phone call. We're sending a message like, hey, we discovered this. We haven't pinpointed the solution yet, but we're on it and we're going to hit you tomorrow with that.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Modern Craftsman podcast, where today we are joined by Michael and Danielle Gutelli of Clark and Aldine. Make sure you stick around until the end. The last 30 minutes of this podcast is my favorite part of this podcast. Sorry, Nick, but it was. I got to spend a few minutes alone with these two and really just dig into them a little bit more about the conversation that we had on a more personal level. Just pick their brain, try and pull a little bit more out of them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So I hope that you enjoy that. That's towards the end of the conversation. But today we dive into intentional living, and not just as a buzzword, but as a daily practice that shapes both life and business for Michael and Danielle. So they've built a design build company called Clark and Aldine. It's based around the idea of elevated homes for intentional living. What's even more compelling is how their personal choices, from fitness, meditation, to setting boundaries, to their decision to cut alcohol out of their life, have transformed the way they parent, the way they lead, the way they operate their business, and the way that they serve their clients. This episode is about the connection between personal discipline and professional clarity, and how living with intention can change everything. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Danielle. I hope everyone enjoys this podcast as much as I did. We will catch you on the next one. This podcast is brought to you by Andersen. Are you looking to elevate your building skills and stay ahead in the industry? Look no further than the Pro Views blog from Andersen Windows and Doors. This blog is a treasure trove for professionals in the building space, and it often features articles and videos created by industry pros. Whether you're searching for detailed technical documents or handy tips and tricks, Andersen's blog has got you covered. It's designed to help you become better at your craft with insights from industry experts and practical advice you can apply on the job. If you're serious about honing your skills, head over there and check it out. Trust us, you do not want to miss out on this valuable resource. For more information, head over to andersenwindows.com/moderncraftsman. This podcast is brought to you by Buildertrend. The guests today were brought to you especially for this podcast from Buildertrend. As you heard throughout the podcast, Michael and Danielle mentioned that they use Buildertrend. So this is a guest that they wanted to bring on. They wanted us to interview, see how they use their systems, so you can hear it on the podcast today. Do you want to attract clients who value your work and are willing to pay for it? Buildertrend just dropped an on-demand webinar from Tyler Farrell from Killowen Construction, and it's packed with the systems and strategies he uses to win premium clients and run impressive jobs. From setting expectations early to using Buildertrend to deliver a top-tier client experience, Tyler walks through the real stuff that actually moves the needle. Plus, there's a Q&A where he answered builders' questions live on exactly how he stands out in a competitive market. Go watch it right now at buildertrend.com/MC clients webinar. If you're serious about growing your business, this is the blueprint. That's buildertrend.com/MC clients webinar. This podcast is brought to you by Harnish. We see innovation and technology in the building industry taking off, but work apparel hasn't changed much until now. Harnish Workwear is disrupting the industry through innovation and design. Their vision for workwear is rooted in performance apparel. To engineer with precision, stripped of excess, deploying cutting-edge fabric technology that pushes the limits of durability and comfort. It's time for clean lines, sharp sophistication, and a commanding presence. I've personally been wearing their gear for years now, hoodies, pants, performance tees, and what I love is that it's not just durable, it's intentional, quite fitting for this podcast. Pockets are where they should be, stretch where you need it, and you're not overheating or freezing your ass off depending on the day. It's the first workwear I've worn that feels like somebody actually asked me, hey, what do you need out of your gear? And then went and built it right. So if you're looking for workwear at the highest level, check out Harnish Workwear. Head to harnishworkwear.com and become part of the future of workwear. So how have you guys been? Good?
Yeah. It's been, I feel like every year we say it's been a crazy year because you guys get it. It's like every year is like a new challenge to step it up. But yeah, it's been good. It was an interesting start to the year. We had our first new construction project. Basically, it was a remodel that then we couldn't actually build. The foundation's completely shot. We demoed the inside of the house, and then it just took a big lean.
Oh.
So now it's become a new construction project. So
because we did try to continue the remodel of it, but because of the setbacks and it's on a lake,
new regulations,
and the only option essentially was for us to lift the house for 30 days to hand dig out the foundation.
Yeah.
And by the time we got through with the change order, the client was like, yeah, no.
Let's just tear it down and build new. So our first new construction project's coming soon, which is awesome.
That's dope.
But because that remodel paused, that was like $100,000 cash flow a month that just went away. And we only had a couple smaller projects at the time. So we actually downsized again. So now it's just Danielle and I. And again, full sub. So we no longer self-perform anything in-house. Obviously, I still do some installation and I'll show up, where need be just to jam out and get things done. But I'd say 99.5% of everything is subbed out. And this week has been because we're busy and new business is jamming, current projects are jamming. We're realizing how challenging it is from a time perspective to try to get to 5 or 6 different places in a day. So we're feeling it, but we're feeling it in a good way. Everything is good. It's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. And the stress level kind of went from here down to just baseline, which baseline for us is insane for anybody else, as you guys know.
Yeah.
I feel like less stress is always a good thing.
Yes.
But I feel like it's what you just touched on is the mindset around what you're focused on. In the sense right now you can focus on today or this week and realize, man, I got to be in 5 and 6 places. This is overwhelming. We don't have $100K in cash flow coming in. And then because I do this on a daily basis, Michael, you and I text offline sometimes and check in hey, how are you doing? All right, I'm doing good. How are you doing? But for me, I think about that. I think about the day or the week and just be man, this sucks. This is the cash is, going to murder us. This is it.
Yeah.
But then you look, it's but if I look at 30 days from now, that over there looks pretty good. And 30 days seems like this long period of time and how much, how many invoices are coming in, how many bills have to be paid, how many credit card swipes it happens in 30 days. But then all of a sudden 30 days comes and it's oh, I guess I survived that. And then you start looking at these sprints and you realize all right, well, that new construction project might be, 60, 90 days out, but that is opportunity.
Exactly.
And, I think, cash flow is one of the things that everyone struggles with, especially in this industry. It's so hard to manage cash flow and, and just be ahead of it and balance the ability to have enough people on the team and enough cash in the bank. But it's almost harder when there's no pipeline or nothing to look forward to.
Exactly. And that's where we were last year, kind of the 5 months leading up to election. We couldn't give things away. But nobody was calling. And I know that was kind of industry wide, which I guess made us feel a little bit better that we weren't the only ones feeling it. But still, it was hard. But we didn't pay ourselves. We just kept chipping away at that savings we had built up. We kept our team on. And then it wasn't until February that it hit a point. And it's listen, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
We want to be good leaders. We want to be sustainable business. But at the end of the day, we started this, we left corporate and started this for a better life for our family. Yeah. We have to look at the 2 little guys that we have at home, and they have to be front and center. It's not which employee do we keep, which do we let go. We really have to focus on them. And now it's, we're just operating super lean. And what's great is Danielle and I are always in sync. There's only 2 people. So we know what's going on at any given time across the board. And all of our subs are so great. If they can't get a hold of me, they're going to call Danielle or vice versa. And they're going to get the same exact answer from either of us. It's either going to be yes, no, or let us talk about it for 30 minutes and we'll call you back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously partial to that model, so you don't have to sell me on that.
I love it.
So Nick and I are going to make a decent attempt at crafting this entire conversation around a topic. And I was trying to look up which topic, and I there was like a few different directions that I could have gone.
Oh,
but I feel like this is going to be a good one. And you guys don't really have say in the matter.
I'm just pumping it up.
So we're just going to roll with it anyway. But like I went on your website. I started listening to podcasts. I went on all your Google reviews and was looking up everything. And there were so many things I wanted to touch on. But then I guess me meeting you guys later on, a little over a year ago.
It's been longer than that.
I guess 2 years. Well, Minnesota was like 2 years.
Minnesota, yep.
So seeing the evolution of you guys from a business perspective, yeah, but also personally. And then front and center on your website is elevated homes for intentional living. And like buzzwords, slogans aside, I've seen an evolution within your business and within your personal lives. I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but recently saying that you stopped drinking, seeing you guys exercising more, meditating together, and just improving your life. And I kind of want to structure this conversation around your intentional living, your intentional business, how they play off of each other, if that would be cool with you guys, because awesome. I think it's something really important to touch on. And I think that one leads to another. And it made for some really good questions. And it just seemed to be super fitting.
Love it.
That makes me so happy that that's the direction you're going, because our saying of the month that we keep focusing back on is that the art is in the work of slowing down.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
for sure.
Damn it.
Yeah. And well, it's funny. Jake Haft shared something maybe like 2 weeks ago, and it hit at a time where we had just gotten something unexpected. It was one of those moments that I felt like could have beat us down. But she had, Katie, because she runs it, she had shared a post about, just their moment in life right now as being a 15-year-old business. They're really moving with purpose, and that is slow, not reacting too quickly, really taking their time, doing longer site walks, doing longer reviews. And that's what we've been doing. As much as we're getting hit, we have a lot of new business, we have a lot of opportunity. The two of us have been able to be very purposeful with our time because we have to be. We were forced to. And it has eliminated 90% of the issues that we had in the past by just taking a little bit more time to go over everything.
And I'll tell you what that I've learned that does for me. I don't necessarily make more money when you look at the jobs. It's not as though I'm just charging more money, but I'm wasting so much less money. Mm-hmm. And it like the margins that I make are so much better. It's not that I'm doing more in volume. It's not that the job numbers are getting bigger. I'm just wasting less money, and I'm not overpaying people. I'm not paying for mistakes. I'm managing their time, and I'm able to people always say, like, the less work they do, the more money they make. And it never made sense to me because I was always just going 1,000 miles an hour. And it really does make sense to me now because I can just control everything from a management perspective. So I'm going to start with the why, and there's probably more than just this situation, but what prompted this shift towards the intentionality, not necessarily in business, but in your personal lives?
You can start. You're doing a great job.
We'll start with the big kind of the elephant in the room. We stopped drinking alcohol.
You both did. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I know. I don't put it all over the internet.
Yeah, we both stopped. We just this week hit 400 days, so we're just over a year.
Hell yeah!
There was a couple reasons to do it. I mean, we've talked about this before, I think too. Like we did in 2020 on January 1st, we started 75 Hard for the first time. We have completed that 4 times. we've attempted it probably 9 or 10 times, but we failed a lot. That's just part of the program. It's very challenging to do, and that's why it's called 75 Hard. But each time on day 76, 77, 78, we went right back to, we went out to nice dinner, had a bottle of wine, and then it turned into another bottle, and then the drinks start flowing on the weekend, and it just became this repetitive cycle. And as we both have gotten more into fitness and working with a personal trainer to now having a pretty incredible home gym built out in our basement, we realize like all we're doing, we're just like investing this time in our mind and our bodies just to balance out the indulgence of alcohol. And it was doing nothing to serve us. And then, I mean, we had a family member get her dad actually get diagnosed with dementia, and we know that a leading cause to early onset dementia and Alzheimer's is alcohol use. So she was dealing with kind of the stress and reality of that. We just decided, like, let's just cut it out entirely. We remove that part from the equation so that we never have to look at that again and just question, did our continued alcohol use lead to this?
Well, and then because we had dabbled a lot with this, it wasn't like an overnight switch. It wasn't like, okay, we're done drinking and we're just going to be done. Like for essentially 4.5 years, we had dabbled with like, okay, we're not going to drink for, as Michael was saying, 75 days, or, oh, now we didn't do it for 75. Let's just continue it a little longer. And last year, at the beginning of the year, we did 75 hard again. And then we just didn't drink after that. And there was like 1 month or 2 months in between last year that we did have alcohol. And it was almost like instantaneous for me that my anxiety was like through the roof again, and my sleep, because started.
It's crazy how many people talk about sleep like with alcohol as they get older.
Yeah,
it is like was mind blowing to me. About like,
I would always drink till I had no trouble sleeping. So
yeah, that was. I never had an issue.
I would fall asleep, but then it would be like 3 a.m. I'd be like
terrible
wide awake.
That's how my wife is. And I think that's. I mean, I think that you're drinking differently typically when you're younger, but I hear that. So I haven't drank since I was 23, and I literally almost pulled out my calculator. I'm like, how 16 years, like that doesn't make sense. That's insane to me, but that's how long it's been. So I don't really like it's so far. I'm so far removed from that, but a lot of people talk to me about it when we're out at parties and I'm not drinking, and they start asking me, and then they start telling me how poorly they sleep when they drink. And I'm like, you probably just need to drink more. And then you won't have trouble. But like, how did stopping drinking affect you? Not like, I want to hear physically, but also emotionally, from like things like sleeping, everything else. Like, how did that affect you, your personality, both physically and also probably emotionally?
For me, my temper wasn't as shortened. Like I had realized too, like with the kids, like I would get annoyed very, very quickly. And I think that I was just so agitated all the time. The stress with the business and in life just was heightened and elevated. I get chronic migraines. So it was like, if I get a migraine, I drink to numb it, but then I wake up the next day and it's even worse. So I was going on these multi-week cycles of having a migraine every day. And I just took a look around, and I was looking at our friend circle, because we don't have a ton locally. All of our friends and our acquaintances, like industry friends, they're colleagues, they're all around the US. I started looking around at everybody. It's like healthier living, very fit, don't drink, or if they do, it's very limited, all about family, and just started looking around. It's like the one component that we had that no one else was really doing was the alcohol. So we just cut it out. And within a month, started just feeling like a clearer version. Mind was clear. The body felt good. Workouts were better. And again, the less agitation and irritability. That was a big thing. What about you?
My sleep instantaneously was better.
So everything got better. Once your sleep gets better.
I mean, really, yeah, right. I feel like, yes, you're just a much better human being when you sleep.
It's also a lot cheaper when you realize how much you actually spend on alcohol.
Yeah, like dinners aren't crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like I said, my anxiety had gone down pretty significantly. I would be lying to say like it just completely disappeared, because it doesn't disappear, but it was less heightened. And then it again just kind of rolled back into that. It provided that space that allowed for us to be more intentional with what we were doing with our time at night. Because so often it felt like we would come home and then have a glass of wine, and then next thing I know, like I didn't really want to cook dinner, or I was eating something else, versus like now I'm finding that that's just providing us the more intentional time of like, okay, our kids are doing this and we should go outside and play with them, because there's not going to be that much longer that they're actually going to want to play with us. Or we're cooking dinner together. Just again,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was just more back to like, it's really focused our attention on what actually matters in life.
Yeah. I think it's such a short-sighted solution to whatever and I'm not saying that everyone's coping or using drinking as a coping mechanism, but oftentimes it's like, yeah, I want to unwind, and this is what they do. And it like, it makes you feel better immediately. But then the next day, like you said, Michael, either with your migraines or waking up and being like, well, I wish we would have not ordered dinner in or not gotten fast food and actually cooked at home. So I feel like it just compounds and makes you feel so much worse. And then you get into that cycle where it's like you feel shitty and you tell yourself you're not going to, and then you're stressed out, and then you do, and then you feel better, and then you feel worse. And it just like keeps growing and getting worse and worse. At least that's what I experienced. And when I stopped, like I was coping with anxiety through drinking. And so when I stopped, my anxiety got really, really bad. And then I had to figure out why I was having so much anxiety. And I'm on medication for it now. And I've been since we've had kids. So I don't have that licked. And I never really found 100% solution to solve that. But I was the opposite. When I stopped drinking, my anxiety got so much worse because that was like a huge coping mechanism for me. And I had to actually learn how to be comfortable in my own skin, which I'm still not 100% there, but obviously in a better state than I was at 23.
Fair.
Which is wild.
You know, a lot of what comes down to anxiety is, you know, that the unknown world and like what we're fear based on. And so I mean, because I also take medication for anxiety, like I don't think that it's ever just going to disappear. Like one day I'm just going to wake up and I'm no longer going to have anxiety, but there is a lot of tools and mechanisms that are out there to support it. And a lot of it is into your root. And like, that's a lot of places where people don't want to go. They don't want to be comfortable with themselves in silence. They don't want to be comfortable with themselves alone. There is a lot of pushback on that. I'm just not good at quieting my mind down, or that just doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, nobody like wakes up one day and I'm like, I'm so good at sitting still and having nothing come through my mind. Like that's not how it works. But a lot of it is like that any practice that you put in helps you internalize where you're going and what direction you want to be in.
Nobody wants to just sit and like stew in their own shit. And I find even now, if I have quiet time or if I don't have stuff going on, that's when my anxiety ramps up because I have nothing to distract me. So one of the things that I've seen you guys do, and you're putting time aside for quiet time, non-stimulating activities or meditation. How has that helped, and how difficult has that been for you to actually quiet your mind and just deal with what you're feeling? Because for me, that's the biggest challenge, right? Is that I have such a difficult time just being present. It's almost a scary impossibility for me. So it'd just be nice to hear how you guys transitioned into that and some of the techniques and how that's helped you, because it's something that I struggle with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I still struggle with the meditation side. I mean, Danielle does it every single morning when she wakes up. She can talk about her process. For me, to wake up in the morning we bought a new house last year. We have a 3 seasons room. Danielle will be out there every morning until it's like 30 degrees outside, if not in the 20s, under a blanket. I go in the living room, so we have a separate spot in the morning. I'll go down there and have water. I mean, lately I haven't even been having coffee until after we drop the kids off. So I'm up for 4 hours at that point, which is weird. But I just kind of sit and just chill and wake up. And within 20 minutes, I read and then get ready and go down to the gym. But I think for me, where I do my meditating or more so praying is at night when we're in bed. I turn the TV off, which we really shouldn't have one in the room anyway, but we do. For about 20 minutes just to get myself to calm for the day and get to sleep. I pray, I meditate, I breathe. I focus a lot on breathing because my mind at night races constantly. It's a big challenge for me to just quickly fall asleep. Doesn't matter how exhausted I am. I could be ready to go to bed at 7:00, but come 9:30, I am wide awake.
Yeah, where are your kids during all of this time? Because I'm trying to think of meditating at night, and it's like they
do the same thing.
Way.
Well,
Oh, really?
They go to bed, and Enzo has a phone. Ziggy has an iPad. So if they don't, sometimes they still sleep in the same room, but they each have their own room. Yeah, they'll have sleepovers.
How old are they?
12 and 9.
Okay,
we're like best friends.
That's how old my kids are.
Awesome.
They call it a sleepover, which I love. But we've been really intentional with our kids and where their nightly routine is. Again, the more that I find we strive off of structure in our life, and so we have like a shutdown routine at our house where we're off of technology. Michael's still working.
What time is this?
In my ideal world, it starts at 8.
Okay.
Our oldest is in playing on 2 club teams for soccer, and so like sometimes it's 8:30 depending on how late the soccer practice is running. But then it's like that shutdown time, and so they're upstairs and they can have like a choice of the direction that they're going, but it's reading, it's writing in their grateful journal or their gratitude journal, and they write down like 3 things that they were grateful for the day, or they can draw them if they don't want to write them. And then once those 2 are done, we tuck them in, and then they both do nighttime meditations. And so they're guided meditations. We use the Peloton app. Yep. Both boys love that. And so like that was something I had to get comfortable with, was that we were allowing them to have technology in the room at night, even though we have that breakdown time. But like both boys are super respectful of it, and we have their phones or their iPads. Like they'd have to physically get out of bed to get them.
Is this something that they like noticed happening with you guys prior to you implementing it into their lives, where they were becoming curious about it?
They wanted to come into our room to meditate with us.
Well, the reading started because we read at night.
Yeah.
And they wanted to read in our bed. And we still do read alouds with them, which I think so often, like once kids get past a certain age, like
6 8 years old, it's gone.
That falls off. Like we just read chapter books that like Enzo could read on his own, but it's so much more fun if I'm reading it in my voices or Michael's reading it to them. And then it's like that one accompanying thing that we're doing. And then the gratitude journals, that started together. That started as like a family thing that we were going to do every night. We were going to write down 3 things. I think
that was a Christmas gift one year, and that's when we started.
Yeah, that was years ago. We started that. And that became actually a more intentional thing that we picked up from a therapy session that I had gone to. My therapist was doing it with her daughter, and I was like, wow, I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually come up with that.
Yeah. But, it went from reading in our room and meditating in our room, then having to like get out of bed and they're sleeping. I'm carrying them in and they're waking up to once Enzo we got Enzo a phone in 5th grade. That was his last year in elementary. Then he went to middle school at 6. For 2 reasons. One, he could walk home with his brother. We lived only a half mile away, and it was a bridge to cross over, and everything was safe. So we wanted them to have a phone. We also, with his personality, we didn't want him to go to middle school number one, go into his first year at a new school, but then have the allure of, oh my God, I have a cell phone now. He doesn't even care. Like, he has it, he likes it, but he doesn't care. He never answers it. He never brings it with him. We're constantly writing him. It's like, dude, you have this phone. We need to get a hold of you. Like, oh, I didn't think about it in the other room.
It's interesting. I feel like that seems to be a reoccurring thing when it's introduced at the younger age. Like, a lot of these kids just don't, like, they're like, whatever.
Yeah,
I think it's so individualized to kids.
I'm sure, but like, weirdly tying this back to alcohol, but they say the same thing about alcohol, where it's like these other countries where the kids start drinking with their family when they're 14, 16 years old. Like, they're not raging alcoholics by the time that they're 21 years old. Like, they just have a different respect for it.
Yeah.
And, we're similar with technology. My daughter's actually 8 and she just got a watch. But it's mainly like because she's in all these sports and like we want to be able to at least communicate and know where she is. But it's like, she leaves it everywhere. And like she'll, like, when she has it, she'll play with it, but it's like I feel like by the time she's 10 years old, like it's just like not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, this is like a thing I have if I need it.
I think I don't know. It's tough. So Selby's in 7th grade and she doesn't have a phone. And she just had a birthday party and every girl who was here had a phone. And I was so proud of her. She made everyone put their phones away, like in a basket for the party. But like Tilly, if Tilly had opportunity to have a phone right now, fucking game over, dude. She'd be on her phone. Like even her iPad, we have to pull it from her.
Yeah.
Because she just two different kids. Yeah. Like two different kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I see like a very a more addictive personality type and just intense personality type in Tilly than in Selby as well. Like Tilly just seems to not manage anything. It just seems it's very similar to me where it's gas on or gas off. There's not really much in between. And Selby and Rachel they can do stuff just to whatever feels good for them, and then they can put it down. They can live in moderation, and I think it just winds up being two different people.
Yeah, that's a good point too about the drinking. And the thing that I always said, I'm either all in or I'm all out.
Yeah,
and that goes across the board. I am not great at moderation.
Yeah,
like I'm either going to track macros or I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm either
there's no in between.
Beat my own ass in the gym or I'm not. Like there is no in between. And it's a challenge. So that's why the alcohol thing actually, I mean, it was pretty easy. And now I can't, the crazy thing is saying this, I can't even imagine having to drink alcohol ever again.
Yeah.
Like just the thought of the smell of opening a bottle of bourbon makes me want to puke.
So I'm going to circle back with the meditation thing that we were on before and just touch on the aspect of quieting your mind and how that works.
Yeah.
I started meditating pretty like regularly in 2017. And that was because that was when I basically for the first time realized that I actually had anxiety and that this is what was stewing in me all along. And I just thought that, that was just a part of me. And so it started really like with 5-minute increments of me trying to like figure out how I could just keep my mind quiet. And then the more and more I've gone through the practice, I have come to the realization it's not about keeping your mind quiet. It's about accepting that there's thoughts that come through and that you're labeling those thoughts and then you're coming back to your breath. And like that is the practice. The practice is continuously coming back to your breath. And so when you're getting a thought for a while, it's like, oh, there's that thought. I was thinking about that. Now I'm coming back to my breath. And so there's a lot of different breath work that I've really worked through with myself, with Michael, with our boys, that, I mean, I'm sure my kids, like our youngest, Ziggy, he will always be like, I can't do the deep breaths. And I'm like,
sounds like me.
Yeah.
You're just choosing not to do them. And so I just really circle back to like the different types of ones. Like the easiest one that I do with my kids is when I'm trying to calm them down is like you're going to breathe in like you're breathing in through a straw. So you're going, and then you're going to breathe out like you're breathing out like a lion. And you like do that because what it's doing is it's focusing your attention on those two different types of breathing. Like you're breathing in through that straw, breathing out like a lion, or fogging a mirror. Box breath is another one where you're like holding, you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, you hold for 4. That like cycle. The latest one that I've been doing with them is, and it's like, I think I heard this on the Huberman podcast, is that the easiest way to regulate your nervous system is to do 2 inhales in a row.
Yeah.
And then
I heard
long
this.
exhale.
Yep. Yeah.
And so when I catch myself in like that
Panic mode,
fight or flight scenario, or like just panic mode, that seems to almost instantaneously remind my system, like, you're safe, you're regulated. So there are a couple of ones.
I think that this, so what comes to mind is I have such a hard time reading if it's not something that's technical. I can read something technical because my mind is so engaged. But if I were to sit and read a book to my kids or a nonfiction book, my mind goes a million different directions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just read 3 pages and didn't absorb or digest any of that. And I'm thinking like being able to maintain that focus is probably, my mind initially went to, it probably makes you such an amazing reader. And then I'm like, actually just in life, like being able to maintain focus like that rather than constantly having 5,000 things going. And like, I think that with a lot of us, we have developed and almost become dependent and addicted to that constant stimulation and 5,000 things going on that you need to do this and then get that done. And there's this almost mental and emotional high from having that much going on, and the stress and the adrenaline and doing all of those things. And I probably would venture say it's not the healthiest lifestyle that most of us are leading by doing that.
Well, what is wild is that like when you do get to a point where again, you're starting super small, like you're starting at a minute, right? And like, for 1 minute, I just focus on my inhales and exhales, like 1 minute. And literally I'm like saying like inhale, exhale in my head over and over again. And then if a thought comes in, I'm like, oh, there's that thought. And I'm labeling it. And then I'm like back to my inhale, exhale. But what it does do for you is like, when you can get into that state of mind where you're just there and present, like that high is like a different level of high than I've ever experienced, where I'm just like, holy moly, like my whole system is regulated and it feels grounded and centered and present right here.
Have you had to put a lot of new boundaries in place with clients, with personal life, with business, because of this lifestyle that you're now looking to lead? Like, because I would assume that your time's more valuable, you're more intentional with everything that you're doing, and that would contradict a lot of what we do as small business owners.
Yes, absolutely. Danielle's been really good about that for years. But one thing we did do this year, which this is just a natural plug. So shocker, we use Buildertrend. We have for years. What we put in place that we weren't doing for a long time was using the messaging functionality. We were still doing text and emails for the past, 3-4 months. Every bit of communication for a project goes through Buildertrend.
And like at first I thought that was going to be a really hard transition actually, because we had done everything in email form.
Yep.
But the second I onboarded a client into pre-construction, I sent that onboarding email in the messenger. And in that onboarding email, I'm like, hey, moving forward, all communication is going to go through here so it doesn't get lost. But also, you're not going to respond to this chain over and over again. You're going to start a new one each time so that it's easy for all of us to find it.
So if it's a window change, it's a new thread. If it is color scheme change, it's a new thread. If it is a framing question, it's a new thread. So everything becomes a new message. And all of our clients are professional in some way, shape, or form. They're working in the corporate world. They own their own company. That helps them, and that just elevates our service. And it ties back to what you hit on earlier with our website. Like, we're very purposeful in not only setting up these boundaries for us, but this makes our clients' lives a lot easier. They're not searching through text. They're not searching through emails. We eliminate the question of, I swear we talked about that. And then the other thing is recapping everything that we discuss, either in person or over the phone. If there's an emergency or whatever, then it's a quick text. We're not going to send a message for
I'm
that.
not answering your phone. Hit me on Buildertrend.
Basically. But no, it's
That's
been,
me.
and it also what it does is
I don't care if your house is flooding right now. I'm not seeing
that's
this.
where a phone call comes in. If the client calls, we know
I'm
it's
like,
important.
that sounds like that's a juicy
It's like
problem.
it's like, hey, this is on the wrong thread. Do you mind restarting in a thread that says house flooding?
Yeah.
Well, we just had it this weekend. We have a client. We just started a new project, and like literally 7 different messages came through, all different topics. It's like, yes, it's working.
Well, and Michael was actually really fearful with this client because before we started, she would like DM us and then she would text us,
yeah.
and email us. And I was like, I'm going to rein this in.
Yeah.
I'm going to rein it in. And then
Once you put the like it's, I feel like in the beginning, let it happen all over the place,
Yes.
right? Like I have a client right now, literally started same thing in the DMs, in the email, currently texting me as we sit here. And I know that this is going to happen, but the moment we're working together, hey, everything comes to one spot.
Yeah.
And the moment you put up the barrier, as long as you don't break it, they can't, right? Like they'll email you and you won't respond. And they're like, oh yeah, I got to go to Buildertrend. But if they email and you're like, hey, like we're supposed to do this in Buildertrend, but hey, I'll answer it right now. They're like, the barrier's down. Like I'm just going to email you because this is easier.
Yep. That's an easy one that we put in place that really has worked. Another thing, like us protecting our weekends with the kids. I mean, yes, early on when I was on site, our first 2 years, I was working 7 days a week most weeks.
Sure.
Like that just, when you're starting out, that is what it is. We do not allow trades, any of our guys, to work on our jobs on the weekends. Like weekends are off, because if we allow it, which we have before, then we're getting phone calls, we're getting texts about, hey, what's going on here, or I need this, or I didn't receive this, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden we go from being purposeful and intentional with our time with our kids to now we're jumping back into a project. Now, yes, do we put office hours in on the weekends? Of course. Like business owners, like we're always talking about it. We have things that we need to do. We're planning for the week on Sundays, but we don't allow a project any longer to intervene with that time. So those have been some barriers that I think anyone can put in place depending where you are in your stage and your journey of business ownership and entrepreneurship.
And then the other thing that we have really strived to do is, I say in quotation marks, block scheduling.
Yeah.
That's loose, obviously, with the industry that we're in, but we have, we schedule client meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays only for new business. We, I will take new business calls at a certain time of the day. We will do site visits on certain days. We batch content.
Yep.
So like things like that just help with the flow process and systems, but also set those boundaries of like, we're not always available.
Did you have a lot of hangups prior to doing that, as far as just that you weren't going to be able to remain disciplined, or you weren't going to be able to support the time necessary to do that? Because that's something that I struggled with, even taking Tuesdays to be in the office or do podcast related things. And when I finally made it happen, I can't imagine going back.
Not. Did you?
Well, no, in the beginning, I mean, we had a specific day of the week that was I think it was Tuesdays, was like or Tuesdays or Thursdays was our my work from home week, which of course during every project spilled over, and I no longer had that for a certain period of time, but we tried to implement it.
So yeah, you struggled with it.
I have struggled with it.
Yeah, like I was always, I was telling myself in my head that it was going to be a certain way, right? I was going to devote Tuesday to this, but it was always, well, I could just get this done, or I could run there and I
Yeah.
could do this. And it wasn't until I remained disciplined enough and structured enough and told my clients that I won't be there on Tuesdays that I actually made substantial changes in my business, in Modern Craftsman, in my schedule. But it was so hard to do. And now I look at my life and it would be so hard to juggle the two now.
Yeah.
Well,
Like I can't imagine how I did it.
Anyone that slips into that deep work state, like someone, I saw this on LinkedIn yesterday, but they had this timer and I would pick it up, but I glued it to my friggin' desk, so I can't show you it. But it's this time. It's basically a cooking timer, and I saw remote. Huh?
Does it have 2 timers on it?
No, it's the Hermosi one, the one that Alex uses on his desk.
Okay.
So it's digital, and you spin it. And I saw him post about it, and he was like, "I'll set this when I know I need to do something, and I will set like I'm gonna spend the next 60 minutes working on this and this only." And I don't use it often. I'm probably more like you, Michael, where it's like I want to do this, but it's hard for me to like stick to it. But anytime I've done it, I'll make significant progress on something where it's like I'm just like blowing through this work and I'm like, I'm getting so much done. I also realize that something I think takes me 45 minutes actually takes me 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yes.
And it's like, and when someone's like, that's going to take me
uninterrupted.
Yeah, uninterrupted. It's like someone's like, oh, that email is going to take me 45 minutes. I'm what? That should be 5 minutes worth of work. And then,
the reason that I asked you that, Nick, is that Michael had bought us last year timers that have 2 timers on it, and I use it all the time. I don't know if you do. But I set it for 30 minutes of work time and then a 5-minute break.
Oh, right.
And in that 5-minute break, like I literally get out of my seat and I'm not allowed to do any form of work. I think he thinks I'm crazy, but then I like come back and I'm so much more focused.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know if I have ADD or anything, but like I'm all over the place. Like I'll be working deep on something and then I'll be like, wait, hold on. I'm going to take care of that real quick and I'll do it and I'll go take care of it and come back. But I know I'm just burning like time, like getting re-engaged. And when going back to what you said about block scheduling, I had that in my calendar for a while where I just built out my whole calendar where essentially I would leave blocks in there. So if someone needed to schedule time with me, they could, but otherwise I had blocks in there and it would tell me what I was doing, like down to like, hey, eat lunch. And it would be, hey, I want you to spend these hours doing deep work. And for a long time, I was really good about only putting my meetings where I said I would have my meetings. And it's funny because you get this momentum behind it. Momentum's like my word of the month. But you get this momentum behind it where it's like you find this like, wow, this is really great. I'm making all this progress. But what happens is just like the barrier for the messaging, like the moment something comes in where it's like, man, that's a hot lead. I'm just, I know I'm supposed to be doing content, but I'm gonna prove that I can close this deal. And then next thing you know, it's like, what happened? And I'm gone.
It's so inefficient too, but you don't feel like it is. It's
no, because
so
you feel like, you're like, it's the whole busy mentality, right?
Dude, it's like
I think Hermosi brought this up, I believe, in a video where he talked about if you're focused on something and you immediately jump to something else, it takes you a good 20 minutes to actually focus back in on the first task that you had going on.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with sleep. That's I don't know if it was Hermosi or it was Huberman recently. We saw it to where if you hit your snooze timer, like once your alarm goes off, it will take, if you hit your snooze, basically your body is then exhausted for like the next 90 minutes versus if you would have gotten up in the first place, which I still struggle with hard.
Oh, see, I moved my phone is off like away
so
from
So is mine.
you walk back to bed
sometimes, or she just turns it off because she knows I'm not going to get up.
Oh, that's fine. I get like I sleep really well. I do not have an issue. I am asleep within under a minute the moment I lay down. Like, I mean, I can tell you right now in the last.
Sometimes he doesn't even need to lay down.
Sometimes I don't. But I can tell you, like, only one time.
I've seen Nick fall asleep eating pizza before.
Oh, wow.
in a very fancy restaurant. I mean, a very fancy hotel, mind you. But I can tell you that in one time in the last 5 years, ever did I lay there and like have my thoughts keep me up ever. And,
Wow.
and so my point is, but I also sleep on the verge of anxiety where I know I wake up early enough that if my wife wakes up, like she's not going to be happy. So I have my volume set on 2 bars. And the moment it goes beep, I'm up and I'm over and I'm like, it's a rush to see if I can hit the off button before that third beep goes. And then it's like, then I creep out of the house and it's like that. So I don't climb back in bed. I'm like, nope, I'm up and it sucks. And like, someone was like, oh, you're a morning person. I'm like, I don't know if I'm a morning. Like, I don't like, there's parts of being up in that, like during that time that I like when you feel like you're up and like no one else is doing shit, but you're doing shit. But otherwise, like, no, of course I want to lay back down. Like I would rather not even set my alarm and just like,
Sleep.
lay there and do nothing. But
it has been a huge struggle for me. I'm working on it. I'm getting better, but I acknowledge it. Like it's difficult for me because it takes me so long to fall asleep. I mean, I take a sleeping supplement at night. I've tried magnesium, not eating 2 or 3 hours before, before bedtime. It's just a struggle. And I think the other thing, like back 8-9 years ago before the business, when I was like training hard, I actually was going to the gym with somebody and in 5 months dropped 30 pounds. And it was every morning at 5:30, we were at the gym and we didn't get done until about 7:15, 7:30. So it's like I had to get up so I could brush my teeth, get dressed, and well, that's why I lost 30 pounds.
2 hours every day, bro. Damn.
Yeah. It was cardio, then lift, and then end with cardio.
Super.
Dude, you had so much laundry. Like that's just like
yeah. Oh, we're
like sweating through clothes.
So I think that knowing that the gym is in the basement, I even though every night I say I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna hit it hard, I will tell myself, if I sleep in 30 minutes, then I can just go downstairs and read right away.
Dude, you're doing so much work. Just get up.
Oh, exactly.
Dude, some people just aren't morning people. Like my wife, my wife wakes up without an alarm every single day. Like I'll wake up and she'll just be reading in bed next to me, and my older daughter's like that. And that's not me. Like I would much rather stay up later than say I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. And that's been me my entire life. And I've managed it. Like construction, probably not the right industry to be in if that's the type of person you are. But that's just, people are different. Like some people are just wired differently. Some people are not. Like, and it's the same thing with my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter, we have to wake up for school every single day. And she'll stay up as late as she'll just stay up late. But Selby's the opposite. And I don't know, I don't know if it's as easy as just saying I'm going to will myself into this.
No,
I think that you can create habits, but
behind that in your rhythm and how you have different circadian rhythms. I do think they can be adjusted because think about time zones. Adjust them based on time zones.
But it's the desire to you can't want to wake up early and stay up late.
Yeah.
Well, yes. So you have to. There's a multitude of things that have to go along with it.
And I could get myself more pumped to say I'm gonna work late than to be like I'll just get up 3 hours earlier. Like mentally, I would be more apt to be like I'd rather stay late than come in early the next day. And I just I'm on board with that once I get going. But that's been me my entire life. And I could think about it from when I was a kid on. And, you obviously have to deal with that differently once you have kids, but I think that people are just wired differently. And it's not we say it's night people, people are morning people are night people. I think that that's very broad strokes, but I think that people are definitely wired differently.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hands down, for sure.
Have there been other principles that you guys think you've brought from your personal lives or the journey that you're taking, aside from, discipline and your communication styles, that you've brought over to your Clark and Aldine business model, based on this personal journey that you think have really helped your business, how you deal with clients, anything business related?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, again, the more intentional we get back with how we're living, is that falls into us being intentional in business with our operating systems, and how, like, for so long we were great at growing a business and great at making everything look from the outside as if it was like magical and working so well, but internally it was a hot mess of a disaster. And that became because we had literally built a house with no foundation.
Yeah.
We didn't have any operating systems. We didn't have any SOPs. Like we didn't have any of those things. And so by realizing that we need to be extremely, extremely intentional with the direction that we're going as a business and personally, that like it flows better and it's so much more natural for us now that, our entire business and operating system runs off of Buildertrend. And that was a huge change for us when we made that switch and committed, because we made the switch twice. But when we made the switch and committed that we were going to make the switch.
I think the other thing that we've done this from the beginning, but we've gotten a lot better at it, is more, it all comes down to intention. More questions to understand why our clients want to do a remodel, why they're choosing to do their kitchen, how they see themselves using it, what is important to them. Do they entertain a lot? Do we want to go, are you thinking a 36-inch range or a 42? Like we really get down, and this is kind of initial consultation, is really understanding how they envision themselves using the new space versus how they're using it now, how they live, how old their kids are, what their kids are into, to really understand. Because before it was like, all right, we have a new project, this could be killer. To now it's like, okay, we have this opportunity. Is it the right opportunity for us? Are we the right partners for them? Is the decision going to come down to price and time? Is it going to come down to quality and time, quality and price? You can't have all three. So really for us and how we live is, yes, we have things that we don't need. I love shoes. I don't need the 50 pairs that are sitting on the floor right now that I haven't worn, and I
100.
do have more. But they can go away. Didn't need to buy.
You heard it. He said they can go away. So
yeah, they can go away. Actually, I just sold quite a bit a few weeks ago. I don't need the car that I just bought. It's something that I had been working to obtain for a long time. But again, purposeful purchases, purposeful living, and again, it's like from a business, you get scared sometimes. You want to take anything that comes at you because it's potential revenue. For us, it's really become, okay, great opportunity, great lead, but does it make sense, and do we make sense for them? And I think that's been something that's helped us.
And going back to your initial point there, when you were talking about you're asking why someone wants to do a renovation, I think what's interesting about that question is that oftentimes that lead comes in, hey, I want to do my kitchen renovation. We love kitchen renovations. Let's do it. Let's plug our process in. We're going to this is going to be the coolest kitchen ever, all custom cabinets, craziest stone. And they're like, whoa. We just want to update our kitchen because it's better for resale. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, does that mean it's not a good fit for us? It might, but it also might just mean that you approach it differently, where it's like you can still be a great partner to them, give them a killer kitchen. They make a ton of money on their resale, and then they call you and be like, hey, we want to build our home. You guys were great. You did exactly what we needed. And there's too much promotion, especially on social media, that it's like you only should work for the type of projects you want. It's like, yes, like we all want to only do the projects that we want to do, the ones that drive creativity, that really push us. We also want to have cash in the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And sometimes like you take on a project that doesn't fit the creative itch, but you can still do it with your process, but it starts with understanding why they want to do it.
Exactly. We have one right now. We're in finishing stage on it. We'll be done next week. It was a project to where when cash was tight, it was like, okay, we talked about it. We remember this lead coming in. They wanted to fully gut 2 of their bathrooms. Their budget was smaller. Let's set up that consultation because it kind of died for a moment after that initial phone call. Let's set up the consultation. Come to find out, we went there. They didn't want to gut their bathrooms and enlarge them. They really wanted a full home refresh. No moving plumbing, no moving electrical. They just wanted to refresh the entire space. Mm-hmm. So we then looked at it and was like, okay, we can actually do this and make a good margin and make these clients super happy.
Right.
Our clients, our client that owns the home is a bit older. Her husband just passed away. He was sick for years. Their daughter moved back, and mom just said, listen, I want to enjoy this home. I want to update it and enjoy it for my last years here on earth. And I want to hand it over to my daughter so it's not a burden for her to sell when I'm gone.
So she sold all her husband's shoes and then refreshed the house.
No, she had a junk collector come in. She sold a whole bunch of stuff. Not everything's going to be new that goes in, but the entire house, every surface is freshened up. We didn't replace the baseboards. We just did the shoe, but it's all new floors. The doors we refinished. The cabinets look amazing. They're semi-custom.
That's because you took the time to understand the why, where it's instead like you get this initial inquiry, you're relying on the client to communicate what they want. They're saying we want to do a gut. They don't even know what that means. Their friend told them like, hey, reach out to Clark and Aldine and say you want to do a gut. They'll know what you're talking about.
Yep. And that's
like, well, they didn't.
Referral.
Well, and I think, Nick, that really comes back to like full circle of like finding out the why. Finding out the why with clients, finding out the why with like how we want to run our business, finding out the why of how we want our life to look. Like when we really dive back into that why, it helps ground everything and making sure that we are really focusing in on that. Because if we're not focusing in on that, we're all over the place.
Yep. And there's another piece too of something that we ask and we learn a lot about. We've seen really over the past year, a lot of clients come to us. They want to do a whole bunch of projects, but they want a phased approach. Not everybody's set up for a phased approach, right? Like a lot of our industry, they want to do it all, and if they can't do it all, if it's not big enough, they're going to move on. For us, that's a great opportunity. We're still going to make them sign a pre-construction. We're going to go through our whole process. We're going to bid everything out. And then we're going to come back to the table. We're going to look at the numbers as a team and decide what makes the most sense to do now, both from an investment perspective or what's mandatory, like what really needs to be addressed. But is there also something we can add on that is a personal desire versus a need? And we can explore those costs. We can explore those packages. Obviously, the more you put together, our internal hours can change and fluctuate a little bit. The labor and materials is what it is. But we can scale it a bit and give a better product for a slightly better price because we're not treating them as individual one-off projects. We're able to really come to the table and put a package together. And that's been something that we've seen success for us this past year, that in the past, we would just kind of like, well, it is what it is. Either we do it or we don't. And a lot of opportunity was left on the table, and maybe we weren't ready for it.
I think it's also job security. For me, I've made a career off of projects like that, where we do your kitchen. It usually starts out, we'll do your bathroom, and then you do your kitchen, and then renovate their master. And it always seemed that right when work was drying up, those return customers would reach back out. And it's like, oh, okay, I always had this in the bank. As long as you're upholding your end of the bargain, which shouldn't be that hard to do, it seemed that those jobs always hit at the right time, and it was just job security for me. So it got to a point where I had so many return clients that I wasn't really even entertaining new leads at a very high level. Like it had to be a really great client and a really great project, or else I had all of these return clients that I knew were on the back burner for more work, which to me just allowed me to refine my business and ensure that I was working for the right people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other piece of that is you have, if you do good work and it's a good process, you have automatic referrals through those clients.
Yeah.
Right? Not just because of the work, the craftsmanship, more so because you listened, you cared, you asked what they thought, you asked about their concerns, you asked about their desires. It wasn't just, oh, you want a kitchen remodel, here's the design, we're going to execute it. Like, you literally ask the questions, and it's a bit of psychology too, like just digging down and strategically understanding who is your client, what are they about, what do they do for a living, how long have they been there, how old are the kids, all those things come into play. And clients, I mean, that means a lot to people, that you actually listen and don't just talk to them.
You're spot on. The actual product craftsmanship, the end result, like that is, while it's important, we as tradespeople romanticize that as the number one priority.
Yep.
Like it just like that's, and we try to force the level of detail, quality, execution into every single client, where the majority of clients don't care about that. They just want to work with someone that they like, appreciate, that listen, that communicates well, and has a good process. And
Exactly.
and it's the same. I posted something earlier on LinkedIn about estimating. The client does not give a shit that you can get your estimate within 5% contingency. They don't. Just
No.
just get to a number and let them know, hey, this is probably what it's going to cost. Like, but do so in a way that there's confidence, that they understand your process, that they can trust you, that you're going to treat them fairly, and that they can move into a project knowing that this isn't going to be an absolute abomination. The ability to estimate down super precisely is even less important than getting the quality 10 out of 10. Just, if you focus on the middle in that whole process with the client experience, if you can figure that out, that is everything to building a successful business. And I can say, like, we just finished a project. It was a smaller project for us. It's not, quote unquote, the ideal type project, but they seem like great clients, and we killed it. And I met with him the other day, and he's like, dude, like, we just bought a second home. We wanted to build something with you guys, but it didn't end up working out. That's fine. But I know, he's like, but you guys, your process was so dialed, and we knew, like, that it would be that way if we built with you. And even though we hired you for this small project that wasn't your ideal type project, you treated it exactly the same.
Yep.
You didn't get the $100,000 cabinet package. They got a $50,000 cabinet package. But it was still treated the same way, where he's like, dude, we're a lifer. Like, you will have our blessing. People showed up and they're like, how's the project going? Is it a nightmare? And he's like, every person that walked in, I was like, no, they're ahead of schedule. This is an amazing process. Their communication's amazing. And that's what matters.
Those are the fundamentals that matter. And I think Brad Levitt has said it multiple times. It's like, I'm an entrepreneur who happens to run a construction company.
Yeah.
And I think that in our industry, the laser is so focused on the construction side, being on site, boots on the ground, the actual physical labor, that the business and communication side of things is what always falls to the side. But
and
that's
it's what
where
everyone wants to learn and figure out what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. If I just would have known, like, in the future, please just let me know sooner. Like, to now, we're on top of it right away. We're having a phone call. We're sending a message like, hey, we discovered this. We don't have we haven't pinpointed a recommended solution yet, but we're on it, and we're going to hit you tomorrow with that.
Just
but
keep
really
me
being ahead of it, all the business stuff matters the most, and there's still so many people that don't see it that way. And I feel for you, because it's going to bite you.
Well, and I think that the more that we hone in on that, and that this is our process and this is why we do the things that we do, and we stand so strongly behind it, that continues to just drive us forward in finding the clientele that is working for us, right? And so if somebody doesn't want to do pre-construction, like, I'm terrified for them that they're going to, whatever they're going to land into, but B, like, that we're just not your people.
Yep.
Like, that is ultimately, is a must in any job that we do, is that construction process. So
I know that Nick has to run, but I have a few more minutes that I want to spend with you guys, if that's cool with you.
That's great.
I do. Michael, Danielle, I love you guys. I'm sorry I have to
Love
peace
you,
out.
brother. Yep. We need to make a trip up there soon to walk through that amazing build you have.
I would suggest October.
Okay. We'll make
All
something
right.
happen.
Maybe we do it for Ziggy's
right.
birthday.
Oh, there we
All
go.
right.
Cool.
I'll see you guys.
Later, brother.
What you guys were just saying, it seems to me from the outside looking in that you are both coming into your own in your personal lives and understanding who you are. And I think relating it to myself, when I started doing that, and I started really, like you're doing, being more intentional with the way that I used my time, the way that I vetted my clients, the personal decisions were huge drivers for my business. And I don't think that was really what I set out to do. But it seems, seeing what you guys are doing, that like your lifestyle changes and the intentionality that you want to bring to your family, to your personal lives, to your mental well-being is really catapulting your business career. Like, did you think that was what was going to happen?
Good question.
Yes,
she did.
I did.
I think
so like when you set out and you started making these, were you like, business will get on track once we sort our own shit out?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yes. And I kept going back to like, we started this business because we wanted to spend more time together. We both have different whys for what we're building this.
I thought
for.
you just said wives for a second, and I was like, interesting.
Yeah,
we have that too.
That'd be a whole different podcast.
But we both have, like, our whys are very different.
Yeah.
But yet they intertwine together.
What are they? What's your why and what's Michael's why?
So my why is that I want to be extremely intentional with the direction that I'm spending my time, and that I'm able to do the things that I'm passionate about, right? And I want to ultimately have the freedom to do those things, but then also the peace that comes with that.
And that's life and business?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what really was the catalyst for that? Because we can say it, it was because business did this, or this happened to me, but like I had a realization of that as well. And when I dug really deeply, there were things in my life that I think bred that decision. Are there specific things that if you dug deeply, you feel are responsible for that? Is it fear? Is it a loss? Is it realizing like the finality of life and how limited we are with time? And I know that's super deep, but
totally.
A lot of times I feel like that's what drives those decisions.
I mean, yeah, I would say for me personally, it always like comes back to our family and our kids, and that they're only this age for so long, right? And they're only around for so long. And so while we were growing this business and it was pulling us in 900 directions, it was like, hey, we started this so that we could own our time.
Yep.
And yet the business is now owning our time, and we're not owning any of our own.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just realizing that like I was missing out on all the things that I wanted to be a part of.
Do you have a lot of guilt for that?
No, because I feel like through everything that you experience, there is opportunity for growth if you look at it in that way. And there was a lot of growth that had happened in those timeframes for us. And like, it has really just made me more present in those moments that I need to be. It's like those everyday moments that truly matter, and that it's not these big lavish things that we're doing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Michael and I will end this podcast and we'll both go drop Enzo off at soccer practice tonight.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, if you guys have to run, obviously let me know.
No. He doesn't have
but it is like I've had this realization that that's life, and I look at it similar to how you accrue or accumulate miles on your car, right? It's not the big vacations. It's not, it is, but it's not Christmas. It's not these big events. It's all the little things. And it's the same way that you wind up with $100,000 on a car, or 100,000 miles on a car. It's not the one trip you took to California that was 3,000 miles, right? It's the 5 miles to and from school every single day. And I've realized that like those are the things that I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss all of those little days. And I think that, like you said, I don't have a ton of guilt for the past 5 years because I've felt that I've been doing my best and I've been intentional and I've done what I can to the best of my ability. And it's not perfect, but I am trying and I'm cognizant and I'm intentional with that. I think that I had a lot of guilt in life when I looked in the mirror and I didn't feel as though I was saying the right things, but I didn't feel as though I was actually putting in the work and doing the right things. And I think that's when I had a lot of guilt. Your why?
Yeah. So my why.
I'm like, are you going to change it?
I mean, really, my why was different at first. My why was I just want to own my destiny. Like I didn't want to work corporate anymore. I wanted to follow my passion and do this, but that obviously has evolved. For me, it's like I want to be the best example of a father that I can possibly be. And I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every single day. But our kids are a mirror image of us as parents.
Yep.
What they see, they will do. And then number two is I don't know, and I say this like leave a legacy. I don't know what that is yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that is just handing down the work ethic, the mannerisms, the politeness, just the general persona of just being a generally good person. Again, I'm not perfect. I can be a dick, but predominantly I look at myself as I'm a pretty nice, understanding person. Handing those qualities down to my boys. The moments where our boys are ordering their dinner when we go out and they say, please, can I have this, please? They say, thank you. They're holding the door open for people. Like those little moments show me that in all the chaos, all the frustrations, the legal challenges, financial challenges, the health challenges, that everything is okay because of what the example we've handed down to these boys and watching them say thank you or hold the door open or push the cart back into the cart compartment in a parking lot. Those are those little moments in life where I can look and say, we're doing just fine. Right.
Yeah. And I like, go ahead.
And what some of the big moments that got us to this point is, we felt a little bit of that imposter syndrome. It's like we felt like we needed a larger team. We needed more staff. We needed to have people in charge of certain aspects of the business. And all that did is they took our eyes off the ball. We were poor managers. We were poor leaders. And all of these different issues with different clients and projects popped up. And it wasn't until we literally owned up to it and realized like we do not need to emulate what other builders and remodelers are doing. That isn't us. We are us. And we have to operate this company and build Clark and Aldine and evolve it into what we believe that it needs to be. And we're going to be the only ones to do it because we're the only ones that own it.
Yeah. And I think that like, that's what ends up cultivating the type of business that you need and true happiness and true intention within your business. Because I feel that when we go into business for ourselves and saying we want to control and own our own destiny, it's almost this crutch to be able to fail or create an unsustainable business model, because we often do, right? And it's like, yeah, but I'm my own boss. And
what does that mean?
And again, it only takes so many years of doing that and banging your head against a wall and creating anxiety and creating unhealthy physical and mental aspects of your life that you're like, I'd rather go work for somebody else. Like this isn't all worth it. And I think that once you find your north and you start figuring out what's actually important to you and that your kids having good manners and what legacy might actually mean to you, that you start building the jobs, the portfolio, the systems around all of those beliefs. And for me, that's provided me with financial gain, but it wasn't the intent for me. Like all of these decisions and changes that I've made in my life and business that I thought would impact me negatively from a financial perspective, like finding clients that I align with on an emotional basis rather than this is the sexiest project. These type of jobs have been so much more profitable for me and versus the jobs that I like fed my ego because they looked good and I could take good pictures of them. And I just like it was so enlightening and refreshing to realize that and to give all of that up. And just, I think that most people don't get to that point. Like they just continue to be frustrated. They're poor parents. There's a ton of animosity because they aren't leading the life that they want and nothing's going right. And they've just dug themselves in this hole.
Well, and I think even just going to what you're saying about like, for so long, I think we were chasing those jobs that you got the beautiful imagery, right?
Yep.
So that we could have this portfolio, so that we could show this off on the internet of like, here's what we do. But like making that switch of, okay, yeah, of course we still are sharing beautiful images because now I have a plethora of a portfolio, but we're turning the switch on. Instead of us showing all these gorgeous images, it's more of us educating clients or other builders and remodelers, designers on like,
partners.
This is our process and this is what we're doing. And here's why we're doing the things that we're doing. And having that to share.
Yeah. And like, so you're happy because of it.
Yes.
A good like end
educating
product.
People.
Yeah. A good end product for any of us should be a given. We're craftsmen, we're designers, we execute. Like the final product is going to look great. I think we all can agree in our businesses and everyone listening, that's inevitable because we truly believe in that and we deliver that. But that, again, that's a given. We could share that all day. What clients care about is the process. Are you listening to them? Are you asking questions? Are you letting them talk and actually hearing what they're saying? Because there's a lot of differences between just having a conversation and listening and actually hearing them.
Well, and I mean, even a lot of the jobs that we've taken on right now, like they're not going to be portfolio jobs that I'm going to go and hire a photographer to shoot. But there's so much content that we're taking from them that we can showcase back on the internet of like our process and us teaching through how we do things.
Yeah. And like every job, I don't know. I think that a lot of those jobs led to relationships with, I don't want to say shitty clients, but like
headaches.
Yeah. Like, and honestly, I think a lot of it was that I was always over delivering and I was fine over delivering until I felt that it wasn't being appreciated. And if I'm now basing my clients on different constraints, most of which aren't feeding my ego with this is like the designer driven job, but clients that are actually nice and appreciate it. When things go wrong, when things cost me money, when it takes more effort, it's still frustrating in the moment. I still want to rip my hair out because it's just not going the way it's supposed to, but I don't have ill feelings or animosity towards the client that doesn't see the value in what I'm doing, right? Like they appreciate what I'm doing, and every day the frustrations are directly with the work and not the relationship. And for me, that's so much easier to deal with than being frustrated with the work and then being frustrated with the client and feeling that I'm literally bleeding for them to have something that they may or may not really appreciate. And that was a big change for me. I still have headaches every day, but I'm working for people that appreciate what I do and the relationships are there. And it's made for such peace, like you said, in my life where I don't feel that I'm constantly ready to snap. I'm constantly just irritated and agitated and anxious. And if I lose a little bit of money or I don't make what I wanted to, I help somebody out. And that's a really good feeling for me.
Fair on that.
And then the last thing that I wanted to dig into, and I think that we've dug into this some, but as we've discussed this more and you've thought about it more, which do you think it really was, like as far as the chicken or the egg? And I don't know what it was for myself, and maybe you guys don't, but I think about, was it personal decisions or problems within my life that drove me to change my company, or was it the way that my company affected me that made me someone I didn't want to be, that made me change my personal life? Because I think that they overlap, but like after just digging into it more, do you feel that one played more heavily.
Yeah, I do think it's the personal decisions that we made, personal decisions, whether it be with what we're consuming into our bodies, what we're consuming into our mind, the decisions that were the uneducated and uninformed decisions we're making with the company. The example I gave of like growing from a team of 2 to a team of 9, thinking that that's what we needed to be successful.
Yeah, but do you think it was the business that drove that, or do you think that it was your personal life that drove the change? I think that's what Tyler's asking. Am I right?
Yeah, and like so, it
Like which one do you
they
think drove
seem that they're like overlapping so much, right? But it's like, can you act like I don't know if I can actually put my finger on which, because they're so immersed and like enveloped with each other that
Because,
it's like is it the chicken or the egg, right? Like the business was making me who I was.
Yep.
But like I wanted to make, and I like the more I think about it, the more I don't really know which was which.
I think that ultimately it was it was the business that brought me to the point of realizing
it's like
how
the last straw
I am with myself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
The business made me be real up close and personal with me.
Yeah.
Right. And like that
I didn't like who I was as a business owner.
It goes back to us. We have to own the fact that we allowed ourselves to lose grip on our lives, which impacted our company, which then impacted our well-being.
So I guess ultimately, yes, it comes back to us.
Yeah.
It comes back to us.
Now we have the discipline, we have the education, we have the insight to where if some catastrophic event happens and we're no longer allowed to operate tomorrow, we have no money coming in, we have no way to pay the bills and put food on the table tomorrow, we're not going to go back to bad habits.
Yeah.
We're going to say, okay, we have to come up with a solution right now, and we're going to take the time to do that. We're not going to come up with it and fix it and generate the 10 grand we need for bills this month in 24 hours. It's going to take some time, but we will get there. We will make an informed decision, and because we have the tools to do that now versus a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, even 4 years ago, absolutely did not have the tools to do it. We would have resorted back to bad habits, which would have then infected. It would have been an infection on the business and every other area of our life.
It's also crazy because hearing you say that, like, first off, it's very refreshing and I appreciate it so much. And I think too, when I was struggling in business, and it would have been so hard to accept that business was unsustainable or failing, or that I had to go a different direction. And at the point I am now, like being open and being vulnerable, being realistic, not only with myself, but with you guys, with followers, with conversations I have with people, that if things went south and I had to find a new direction tomorrow, I don't have any shame for that. And like, I would be completely forthright and open and honest about that. And I don't think that would be the case 7 years ago. Like it would, and the
100%.
freedom that has created in my life, and the peace and the how much anxiety that's absolved for me is it's unfathomable how much different I am because of that.
Well, it's like you're no longer associating your whole identity with business. And I think that is the turn that has happened for us.
Yeah, you've like emotionally detached from your business as well. Like that's not all you have to give to this world and this community.
Well, and like when I'm so overwhelmed by things that are happening in the business, and then like you come home and you're like kids doing cartwheels in the front lawn, and you're like, this is what matters. Like, look at how much fun he's having out there. The dogs are trying to do it with him. Like that, those are the moments that matter. Like,
I think when you start out, like as an entrepreneur, your company, your product, whatever you're building is everything. It's your whole life. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, yeah, Clark Aldine is ours. We built this, and we get asked all the time. It's like, but that's just what we do professionally.
Yep.
We have a whole other area of our life that is intertwined, but this is just what we do. It isn't our whole life. And for years it was nonstop Clark Aldine, Clark Aldine, Clark Aldine. Now we do have that piece, and we have a focus on our family. We have the ability now to take this company as far and as big as we want, or keep it where it is now, or maybe in between. Like we no longer, I had in my mind for the longest time, like 10 million a year in revenue was my goal for no reason other than to say 8 figures. But what does that really mean? It's 10 million is great. That's a great number. I know a lot of people that do that in revenue. But for us, if we want to stay the two of us and be very present in our kids' life, is that even obtainable?
Well, and that just really brought a lot of conversation. Actually, just even today, where we were like, we're never hiring an employee again. I mean, I don't know if that's really the scenario, but we both just, we did have that conversation. Like, we really are enjoying not having employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can completely relate. And it's not, the thing is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for a long time, I was so afraid to get on here or have a conversation with somebody and say that, like, I don't lose sleep over things within my business and I'm not creating an identity. My self-worth is not tied to client experience. I was so afraid to say that because I hung my hat on that, and I also didn't want clients to hear that. But it's not that, like, the experience is any different. It's not that the product's any different. It's actually probably better. And I don't think that it's a negative to be able to step back and to detach from that some, because it's rid so much anxiety in my life that my interactions with my clients are better. Like, I'm calmer. My subcontractors, people who work for me, it's just a more enjoyable experience. And I was so afraid to say that because I was afraid the clients would hear it and they would say, we're not going to get the same product that he had before. And it's not the case. Like, I've been able to pull away and the product's gotten better. The pricing's gotten better. Like, the environment and the experience has gotten better. And it wasn't what I set out to do. And I think that it was a bit of friendly fire that actually ended up doing really well for me.
So sorry.
I was going to say, I agree 100% with that. And I have an example of it that happened Friday. So Friday, I got a text probably around 6:30 from one of our guys. He was going to finish up some tile work on one of our projects. And he just hit me up. He goes, hey, it's been a really long day. I can go there right now if you want me to, or I can take care of it Monday, whatever you want me to do. And I was like, dude, it's 6:30 on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Monday is totally cool. And the response back, I could sense it just genuinely through a text message, how much he appreciated that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go into 7:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night thinking in my head, I wonder how tile's going right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's Monday. That's not going to move the needle in any direction if he does it now or if he does it Monday. It really doesn't matter. And those are the small things that we've been able to do with the shift we've had in our business, to where, dude, enjoy yourself. We're not going to kill ourselves over the weekend. It is the weekend for a reason. And that's, I think, and I hope that this is true and we keep seeing it in the industry and just in all industries. I think the whole notion of the hustle culture has been put to bed.
Yeah.
A long time it was pushed to us by the Gary V's, and Hormozy's a lot better about it, but all the influencers in the space, it was hustle 24/7, 80 hours a day is what you have to do. And it's not sustainable. It's not true. And I think once you doesn't embrace that, you'll have a much better life.
I think there's some people that do really well with that. I think that I was probably addicted to the adrenaline that, was created and manufactured from that lifestyle, but it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't actually making me happy. It was just like a chemical reaction within my body and my brain. For sure. Like it was, I was so annoyed that I had so much on my plate, but it also like served me so well, and I had purpose and I was driven and I was getting stuff done. And it wasn't until I just like stopped drinking where it's like it's so integral to who you are. It's not until you step away from that and fully insulate yourself from that I felt as though I shook my head and all of a sudden I had this clarity and I was like, what the hell was I just doing for the past 10 years? And like I said, similar to when I stopped drinking to when I decided to change my lifestyle and my business. And I still have bad days. My kids are still a pain in the ass. Like, I want to put my family first, but like they're annoying sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
They're a lot.
When our kids have a bad day or they just act out of tune, like they're being a little ridiculous. It's the same thing we tell them, like, guys, you're going to have bad days. You're going to mess up. It is okay. We're not mad at you. We're calling you out because our job is to raise good humans. And sometimes we have to call you out on your shit. Okay. Yeah. Mama calls me out on mine and I call her out on her. That's why we have a great relationship. Of course, everybody's going to have bad days. Not every day is skipping down the street. Like, there are challenges. There's always something that's going to happen every single day, but you put in the work and then you're equipped to deal with it.
Well, and what you were saying, Tyler, is that I really do feel like once you stepped out of that fear mode of like being fearful of what things were going to happen or how they're be responsive or what mold you should fit into, right? And you stepped into who you truly authentically are as a human being, like what feels right to you, everything fell into place. The universe basically was like, oh, hey, you're doing what we've been trying to tell you to do. And then all these things started orbiting around you. And that
you don't have to project your entire life. What's going to happen? Yeah. Like, you're good with just letting it happen.
Yes. Yeah. And like, actually, while you were saying that, I just pulled up, I was like, I think I wrote a note on Enzo's napkin this morning that really resonates with this. And so I found it on my phone and I did. I wrote to him, one of the hardest parts of life is realizing that you don't need to fit in. You just need to be you.
Yeah.
And that's how I sent him off to school this morning.
Well, I appreciate it. I really, no offense to Nick, but I'm glad that we got a few minutes alone, and I really appreciate you guys just being open and honest and vulnerable, because I know a lot of times when we have a podcast and we have guests on and it's a platform for them to market themselves and pitch themselves. And I feel that you guys have held yourselves accountable throughout the entire conversation, the podcast, and especially the last half hour. And just hearing what you've been struggling with and what life looks like and how you're navigating that, I think it's affirming for me. And I think it's motivating and inspirational for a lot of people, because I don't think that this experience and what you guys went through and business, I don't think that that's unique to just the three of us, that's just us who have gone through that. I think that that's something that's fundamentally wrong with our industry and our society. And I think it's going to be really refreshing for people to hear and be able to relate to that and possibly reach out to you guys if they have questions. And I always tell people I'm an expert by no means. Like, I've fucked myself up more than any person has to do an entire life, but like, I'm the best I've ever been right now. So like, I'm good with that. But if anyone has questions, if it's lifestyle, if it's why I stopped drinking, what it is about my business, I think that, you guys have done a really good job of advocating for what's right, what business should be. And it's not necessarily having a dozen employees and hitting $10 million in a year. That's something I've been trying to scream from my soapbox for the past 5 years. And it's just really nice to see and hear and talk to people who can fully relate to that.
Well, we appreciate it. And obviously always appreciate talking to you and the opportunity. One last thing I want to hit on is
Michael's like, so you want us to plug?
Yeah, dude, for sure. That's it.
Well, one more thing, because the one thing I think the only time the word was said during this whole conversation, which is huge, is the word fear. We've put all this work in, and like we talked about, like anything could happen tomorrow and the business could be uprooted. And it's like, okay, well, we got to figure out what's next. It's not this fear tactic, like I'm going to lose my house, we're going to drain our savings, the kids aren't going to eat. We're no longer scared of that. Like, it's really weird to say that fear doesn't exist, because I know whatever is put in front of us, we will figure it out. And as long as we have our kids, we're good. Like, we're going to be fine. Completely fine.
Do you feel that so much of that just comes from, like, to me, having that feeling just comes from me being honest with myself and having honest conversations with people? Like, I'm not hiding anything.
No, I think, and that's the thing. It's like the same as you. I didn't want to put things out there. I didn't want to talk about it. I was always fearful of like, what if clients see it? What if they don't want to hire us? They don't want to talk to us. I don't have that fear anymore. Like, we're real people. We own our shit. And I think in order to get to that level, you have to look in the mirror, like you said, and take a true inventory. Like, actually be brutally honest. Who are you as a person? What do you love about yourself? What don't you like? And what can you do to be better? And the moment that you get honest with yourself, that you're going to emulate that, you're going to just expound that on everybody that's around you. And we truly believe that the universe has your back. The universe listens. And you just have to cut out the things in your life that you realize are not serving you well. Some people can drink socially and be totally fine and enjoy it. That's not me. That's not her. We're just not built for that. So we were honest about it and we made that change. We don't watch the news. We haven't had the news on in years. All it is, people want to say like, well, it's worse now than it's ever been. No, it's just different. Yeah. It's clickbait media. Everyone has a soapbox, and I was in advertising for 12 years. Trust me, everything is being said and being shown in order to generate eyeballs. Eyeballs equal advertising dollars, which equals and elevates the bottom line. That's all that it is. You take that out of the equation, you feed your mind with good things. Stay in the know, but you don't need to have the TV on 24/7 blaring the same thing into your ears. And I think when you're able to make those, again, some people can do that. We can't. When you are honest with yourself and you take that inventory and you make those changes, then that's where the real evolution happens.
And I think as we continue to evolve and stay really true to who we are and authentic to each of ourselves, because we're two different people, we have found that continues to draw in what we're looking for. Yeah. And so what I was going to say that I thought Michael was going to plug. No,
I knew this was coming.
Plug in there.
Something that we've been working on for
a year.
Actually 2 years.
Is that we are in actually later this month. So I don't even know when this podcast will go live, but we are launching our Build Together community, which we have started taking on other entrepreneurs, predominantly husband and wife, because that seems to resonate really well.
I don't know how you guys do it. I wouldn't be married, but maybe I need to sign up.
But it's essentially like the goal of this is we are doing coaching one-on-one, but the goal is to create a community.
Cool.
And to have this community of like, we do better when we build together. Mm-hmm. And
it's the opposite of how our industry has operated for, since history, especially locally here, which we've noticed. There's a lot of competition still. And it's like, if you're up in an airplane and you look down and you see how many homes there are, there's no way that even 100 builders in one market could handle all of that inventory. It's physically impossible. So you, Nick, Brad, Mark, everybody in Minnesota, like all of our industry peers and friends, really it came from Coalition, meeting everybody and just building these genuine friendships and relationships. You realize like how much better life is when you're open, you're honest, you're able to share, you're able to. I've texted Nick one day just to say, hey, if you have a minute, I would like to run something by you. 30 seconds later, he calls me, he goes, hey man, what's up? Like, having that understanding and that willingness to share and really grow together is meaningful to us, and I think can help the industry. And that's why we came up with Build Together.
And we just feel like so often you feel like you're in this silo that you don't need to be in. And so the platform essentially is going to be like a multitude of things that are on it, including like, similar to what you guys have going on, like different courses that will be there, different templates, but there's also the opportunity to build a community and realize that you're not solo.
And it doesn't have to be local, right? Like you don't have to be. Okay, that's cool. No. That's awesome. Congrats, guys. That's sick. Thanks. So how are people going to find out about it?
We actually have a website. Isn't that crazy?
I've seen
it's not fully built yet.
It will be when Michael has.
So no matter the launch date is September 21st. That happens to be our anniversary when we first started dating 19 years ago. So it was first, it was like, we're going to do it August, and August shifted to September. And finally it's like, you know what, we're going to do it September 21st. It's meaningful to us, which really kind of just emulates everything that we do. So again, this is a passion project for us. And, I said, legacy, and I've always said I want to leave the industry better than I found it. That may not be the projects that we do. It may be building a community such as this and being able to give back and help people grow and overcome all of the obstacles and mistakes that we made, so that they don't waste their first 5 and 6 years chasing their tails around. They're able to actually grow quicker, more efficiently, and more profitably.
And this website is what?
It'll be, I think it's buildtogethercommunity.com.
All right. So if we don't have the website, you guys can get us the website information correctly, but how else can they reach out to you?
You could reach out through us through social. So you could find us at Clark Aldine on any channel. And then we are both personally, I have Danielle Gutelli and
I have Michael Gutelli on all the socials. And I just confirmed, I just looked it up. It is buildtogethercommunity.com.
Awesome. Yeah. And like, I don't know, the legacy thing is something that is tough for me as well. And I'll leave you with this. My wife just lost her dad 2 months ago, and his service, thank you, at his service, there was nothing mentioned about what he did for a career. There was nothing mentioned about how he served his people, more so than just how he was there for them emotionally as a friend. He was also in AA, so he sponsored a ton of people, how he walked them through sobriety, how he was a good friend. And when I think of legacy, it isn't with regard to my work. It's how I was there for people and how I treated people. And ultimately, I think that is more important than any other accolades that you can achieve throughout your lifetime, especially witnessing the service and the impact that he had on people. I had heard something of a quote where it's like, within 2 generations, nobody's going to know who you are. And the way to relate it is like, do you know who your grandparents' parents were? And not many people do, right? Or your grandparents' grandparents. And it's like, when we're gone, our legacy is going to be short-lived, despite of being some like super famous person, which is probably not realistic. So I think ultimately it comes down to just like treating the people around you within your community, within your network and friends, as well as you can, and just being there for them like Nick was there for you. And to me, that's kind of the legacy that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for huge accolades or anything like that, but just to be somebody that somebody can lean on.
And the piece that you just said that means the most in this to me is treat people the best that you can.
Yeah.
Because you can be nice, you can be generous, you can go above and beyond, you can move mountains for people. But what you can't do is control how they react to a situation and what their view of you really is. If you can go to bed at night knowing that you were the best person you possibly could be, and if you made a mistake, you owned it. And if you did something gracious for someone, you're not patting yourself on the back or looking for a reward.
Yep.
Knowing that and embracing that is what matters, because you're never going to make everyone happy, and you can't control how people view you.
Yeah, and you're doing things for the right reasons.
That's right. That's
cool,
right.
Guys. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you got kids to pick up or drive to soccer, and then
always driving.
Yeah. At least you got a new car, right?
Yeah. Put some miles on.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you guys hanging. I know I kept you a little bit longer than Nick, but I wasn't quite ready to get off. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.